What is postpartum depression? How does it affect us as a society? What can we do to help? Postpartum depression is a serious issue in women, but it wasn't until the late 1990s that researchers began looking into and running tests to what extent it was affecting women. I have learned from research and personal experience the effects that postpartum depression can have on your mental health, the suicide rate, and divorce rate. Postpartum depression is a serious issue in our society, but there is a solution and it can be maintained. I'm going to give you some information about postpartum depression, and I'm going to tell you a solution that we can all be a part of. Postpartum depression is a mood disorder or a behavioral change after a baby is born. It is quite common. There's over 3 million cases every year. Often women feel crazy or as if they don't realize that what they are having is depression, so they leave it untreated, and that can be life-threatening. Postpartum depression can last several weeks or even months, and is most common in women the ages of 18 to 35. Though symptoms are most seen in the first few weeks, they can happen any time within the first year after your baby is born. Emotional, behavioral, and cognitive changes may occur. The most noticeable symptoms of postpartum are feelings of anxiety or anger for no reason. Women will begin to lose interest in things they were once interested in, and they'll even stop eating or sleeping. So the cause of postpartum depression is not fully understood yet. There's still a lot of research going on. It can be attributed to a combination of things, a hormonal drop after you have a baby, complications during childbirth, an unsupportive circle when you have your baby, even genetic factors. Sleep deprivation has been linked to a serious amount of postpartum depression. Women that don't sleep tend to be more likely to have postpartum depression. But drops in hormonal balance after the birth of the babies tend to be the leading cause of postpartum depression. Also, stressful events. So if you're very stressed out during your pregnancy, if you have a complication during your childbirth, and the lack of support or help. Some new moms experience a more severe form of postpartum depression, which is postpartum psychosis. This is the leading cause of suicide in new moms. Postpartum depression is not a character flaw or a weakness. Sometimes it is simply a disconnect from your baby and a complication during childbirth. If you have postpartum depression, promptly seek treatment from a medical professional, friends, family, someone. Do not leave it going unnoticed. If you're someone that notices that a friend or a family member is experiencing changes and you think they may have it, help them. Any new mom can experience postpartum depression, and it can develop after the birth of the baby, not just your first baby. You're more likely to get postpartum depression if you had postpartum depression with a previous baby, if you've had multiples, triplets, twins, or if you have a weak support system. We simply must do better for our women, and here are some ways that we can lessen the severity or at least maintain to a minimum the amount of postpartum depression in women. Taking notice and changes of behavior or lack of communication in your spouse, your friends, your loved ones is the key. We cannot shrug everything off as if it isn't a big deal, because that's what causes women to believe that there's nothing wrong with them, and it goes untreated, and more harsh realities happen. Women have a hard time grasping the fact that they may have postpartum depression, and they blame themselves, so they need their support system there pushing them to seek treatment. Encourage women to go have a postpartum or a depression screening during their pregnancy and after their pregnancy. Approach them very gently with this subject. Often women do not want to admit that this may be what's going on with them, and they'll be disappointed in themselves or blame themselves. And we want them to feel as if we are helping, not judging. Offer help with simple things. Women feel as if they're drowning in normal day things when they have a baby, such as housework, chores, dinner, bathing, cleaning, just simple tasks that we often wouldn't think nothing of. Women report that that is the leading thing that they feel like they are so overwhelmed with. Going over and just holding the baby for an hour so they can do those things themselves makes a big difference. Or go over and do them for them, whatever they prefer. Also, women need a break from their baby, and they sometimes don't want to say that because they feel like they'll be judged as a bad mom. And so offering to keep the baby just for, they can go get a pedicure, go for a walk, go window shopping, see friends, have lunch. Just an hour or two away from babies has been reported to make a 50% drop in the depression rate of how women feel. Most women do not acknowledge or are aware that they have postpartum depression. So encouraging them to seek treatment, using kind words such as, I see you, you're not alone, or I've noticed a change in you, is there something I can do to help? Or is there something that you're feeling that you're maybe embarrassed of that we can talk about? These ways will feel less judgmental and more caring, and women will be more likely to want to open up and get help instead of feeling as if they're being burdened. Studies show that there's a ton of ways, though, to prevent or lessen the severity of postpartum depression. Exercise. If you're the mom, get up and go for a walk with your baby. Go to the park. Do some yoga. If you're someone that sees someone has postpartum depression, take them with you. We have to do better for our women. Be supportive. Reach out to them. Drive them to a doctor. Give them support groups. Postpartum depression is a huge problem, but it can be prevented and it can be maintained if we all do our part. Use your voice. Be the solution.